Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're thankful to be here, and it's always good to be seen, and it's always good to see back. So we're grateful for this day, and we'll truly thank God for this day, and would like to welcome everyone here. This is our first meeting of the month of September, and we're grateful for this opportunity. So with that said, I am calling the meeting to order, and at this time I'd like to call on Pastor Abrams of Trinity Methodist Church to lead us with prayer, if we can stand, and after that I will lead us with the pledge.
Mr. Mayor and Council, thank you for this opportunity to be here this morning. Would you all bow your head as we go to our Father in prayer? Heavenly Father, we gather here as human beings, but our desire this morning is to serve you, to serve your will. Father, if it is your call, if it is your blessing, would you bless the knowledge that you desire on each member of the council this morning, on each member of each department head this morning. Father, because we desire to do your will for this beautiful city and this area and all of its citizens. Guide us this morning, Father. We pray that everything we say and do will be worthy of your ears, worthy of your eyes, and bring grace to your kingdom. It is in your Son's most precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If we can all face the flag, please. Attention. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Abram. Yes, sir. If you decide to leave, it will not be held against you, but you're welcome to stay. With that said, at this time, I would like to call on our city manager as well as our HR director. Is Stephanie here?
I'm here.
Targar. I couldn't see you behind Targar. At this time is one of our highlights, as I always say, recognition for some of our great outstanding employees for the increments of 5 years of service. And we as a council know that at this time, particularly at this time, we can't say thank you enough sincerely. So this is the opportunity where we can say thank you to our outstanding employees and encourage them to retire from here. So with that, I turn it over to Stephanie Chastain. Stephanie?
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor said, this is an opportunity to publicly thank and recognize our employees for the hard work that they put in each and every day to perform their duties for our citizens. And we do this in increments of 5 years, so these were the anniversaries that we had in August. We have 8 individuals with a combined total of 90 years of service, so a lot of service in the room this morning, so that's worth mentioning. So we'll get started with our fire department. We have firefighter Justin Wiley with 5 years of service. Congratulations. And you're more than welcome to say a few words if you'd like to.
At the mic, Justin.
I'd like to thank my family and my support system that I have. I came a long way, and I worked really hard to get here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I just want you guys to know that I'm going to continue to work really hard and to be the best that I can for this department and for this city. And I thank you all for the support, and we're going to keep working. We're going to keep fighting COVID, and we're going to do the best we can to keep everyone safe and each other safe.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Justin, 25 more, man. You got 25 more.
Man, I think you're going to be all right. I saw him buffing his shoes back there. You're going to be all right.
Also with our fire department, we have Sergeant Donnie Slaughter with 10 years of service. Congratulations. You're more than welcome to say a few words if you'd like to.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. 15. Thank you, Don.
Also with the fire department, we have Sergeant Jeffrey Carter with 15 years of service.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you so much.
You can say a few words if you'd like to. I want to say thank you to the city of Phenix City for giving me the opportunity to serve our city and be a good firefighter. Hopefully 10 more years I can keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
With our Parks and Recreation Department, we have Miss Marlissa Fryer with 10 years of service. Congratulations, Marlissa.
Okay.
Pull it down. Yeah. Pull it
Oh,
down.
it's all right, 'cause I don't
Get you a
want to
chair. Stand up in that
interrupt
chair.
everybody.
No, don't do that.
But I just want to say thanks to everyone sitting here and everyone who is not sitting here. All of my supervisors who have protected us and kept us safe during this time. And thank you.
Thank you.
With our Police Department, Miss Lisa Williams with 5 years of service. Congratulations, Lisa.
First of all, I want to praise God for giving me and providing me a job that I love and I'm very passionate about. Second of all, I want to thank Chief Smith for putting up with me for 5 years, encouraging me, letting me grow not only as an employee but as a person. Thank the city for letting me be part of this wonderful family. And lastly, if it's God's will, I'll be here the next 5 years.
Also with our Police Department, Miss Angela Harrison with 20 years of service. Congratulations, Angela.
Thank you. I'm smiling, can't see it. I'm very grateful and blessed to be here. Always enjoyed working for the city, and every time I go somewhere, I see a good employee at another place, I try to bring them in. It don't always work, but I say, hey, there's a great place to work. I love it. So come work with us. But I look forward to the future. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much.
And finally, with our Police Department, Michael Harrison with 20 years of service. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you. Wow, they say 20 years is a long time, but it doesn't seem long, I guess, because you enjoy what you do. That's what you have to do. You have to enjoy your job. And I want to thank the city council, city manager, for backing us, all of the city employees. And that makes it better. It makes your job better. But thank you all for 20 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have Miss Kaylee Wells with our Engineering Public Works Department who reached her 5-year employment anniversary, but she wasn't able to be here this morning. So we'll make sure we get her certificate and recognition.
Let's give them a hand again. Thank you all so much for your service, and we just want to collectively as a council encourage you to put the rest of those years in. We have a lot of talent, and it's a great place to work, and as I heard Ms. Williams say, we are a family, so thank you all so much. With that, proceeding on, council, at this time, under the city clerk, I would like to ask the council for a motion to approve the August the 16th work session, as well as August the 17th council meeting, and if the pleasure of the council, we can take those in one vote since we were all at those meetings. So at this time, I'd like to call for a motion for the approval of the August 16th work session as well as August the 17th council meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gordon, motion by Mr. Day. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy,
Yes.
Mayor Lo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And council, at this time, are there any unfinished business? Okay, there not being any, we will proceed on with the resolutions. And under administration, the first resolution is a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and the city manager to sign change order number 1 with Thayer Bray Construction LLC to add 58 days to said contract for hazardous material abatement, south foundation wall, and unforeseen under-slab work at no extra cost. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, in Resolution Number 2021-03, dated January the 5th, 2021, contracted with Thayer Bray Construction LLC to construct the public safety building in the amount of $4,404,656. And whereas it has been determined that a change order is deemed necessary, more specifically as follows. Change order number 1, no additional money and an addition of 58 days. Whereas such a change order would result in a contract adjustment of no additional money and an additional 58 days, and causing the contractual amount to be $4,404,656 and additional 58 days. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize the Mayor and City Manager to sign said change order number 1 for Thayer Bray Construction LLC, and public safety building project is approved, and to increase the contract with Thayer Bray Construction LLC as stated above. Passed, approved, and adopted this 8th day of September 2021.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee.
Yes,
Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask the council for a motion to approve. May I have a motion to approve, council?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Gordy. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Johnson. Comments or discussion, council? If not, call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the Administration Council is a resolution in reference to making an application to Alabama Power Company for the Gateway Grant to assist in the placement of 2 kayak signs located at the Phoenix City Riverwalk. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phoenix City is creating unique opportunities for the gateway locations on the Phoenix City Riverwalk at the pedestrian bridge entrance and the amphitheater entrance. And whereas evidenced by this commitment, the city wishes to make application to Alabama Power Company for the Gateway Grant, and the City of Phoenix City will also provide maintenance for the kayak signs. And whereas the cost of the kayaks installation and decal wrapping is $2,500 for 2 locations. And whereas the Alabama Power Company Gateway Grant is a maximum of $2,500. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City hereby authorizes the filing of said application for $2,500, including all understandings and assurances contained therein, and directs and authorizes its mayor and city manager to act in connection with the application and to provide such additional information as may be required. Passed, approved, and adopted this 8th day of September 2021.
Thank you again. And council, we've heard the resolution. This time I'd like to ask for a motion for approval. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bailey. Council, are there any comments or discussion?
Just a brief comment, Mayor. Yes, this is a unique opportunity for our citizens to do a photo op, spotlighting what has made the riverfront area what it is with whitewater rafting. Rush South, again, these signage will appear with a place where an individual could stand and have a photo opportunity, something that some of our visitors will come in and take part in and take that back to their community. So we are grateful for the opportunity to have the signage in place and update it as such. Thank you so much for your continuing efforts.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. Any other comments or?
Yes, sir, the risk to be resigned, sir. Councilmember Johnson, you know, as I cross the Dillingham Street Bridge, I see numerous of folks just walking across, riding their bikes right there. And that's a good location for them also to, as you said, take the opportunity to have a picture, what have you. And you have a lot of visitors that come across both bridges actually, and those are the 2 good locations. We want to thank you all for that.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Any other comments or discussion? If not, council, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
And now proceeding, council, on the Engineering and Public Works Department. We have a resolution in reference to awarding a bid to Landmark Grading Company Incorporation for the 14th Avenue Park construction in an amount not to exceed $160,924. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas the City of Phoenix City, Alabama has solicited sealed bids for bid E21-04, 14th Avenue Park construction. And whereas 2 contractors submitted bids for this project, with Landmark Grading Company Incorporated submitting the lowest construction cost in the amount of $160,924. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama, to accept the lowest bid and does hereby authorize and direct the mayor and city manager to enter into a contract with Landmark Grading Company Incorporated to perform the work in an amount not to exceed $160,924. Passed, approved, and adopted this 8th day of September 2021.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Lee. Council, we've heard the reading of the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval of that resolution. May I have a motion, council?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Mrs. Johnson. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gordon. Comments or discussion, council?
If I could say something on it, Mayor, I appreciate the opportunity to see our city grow in a lot of different directions and different areas of our city grow. And it gives me great pride to see that when a part of our city comes together, gets something of this nature, how it changes the whole attitude of the people that live in that area. They start watching over it, using it, enjoying it. It becomes part of the neighborhood, part of their own way of life. And it makes an area take on new looks and new attitudes. And with new attitudes, as a lot of this is trying to do, not just to give comfort and enjoyment for our citizens, but it makes the area, the blight go away from that area. People start taking more pride in what they own and what they have and where they live and how their neighborhood looks. So I look forward to this happening in many more areas of our city because it will improve our whole city even though it's in one area. So I thank the people for putting this together, getting this done. I thank engineering for getting out there and finding this company to do it. And even though it might have come in a little bit above budget, the next referendum we have came in underneath budget. So these budgets move up and down. And it's just a good thing that we're able in this city to continue to do these things even during these tough financial times. And I just know the people in the neighborhood will appreciate it, and I know they're gonna watch over it, take care of it, and protect it. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. As it was stated yesterday by our city manager, there were several things that could have been decided to put there, but for the sake of just echoing what Mr. Bailey said, I think putting the park here, thank you, Mr. Hunter, for that guidance. I think is one thing that would really bring this community together, in particular that area. So we do thank you all for that. This is a big deal. It is because, as Steve stated, this is really a big deal, and we need to be proud of that.
And I agree with you also, Mayor. I foresee it being a game changer for Phoenix City, and particularly in the 2nd District, because our children continue and the parents continue to look for ways to get their children engaged in activities. We have the after-school program, we have some summer programs, but every day family gathering in the 2nd District is not seen as often. So we're hoping that this will be the game changer that will bring family neighborhoods together, Phoenix City together to enjoy one other park and the amenities that it has to offer. So yes, we are grateful for what has been done to make sure that our children have and our families and community citizens have somewhere to go in the 2nd District. And this will be a walking park area, some seating area, basketball court, and I know the neighborhood will embrace it fully and positively. So we thank you, City Manager and your team for seeking out the bid for this, and hopefully, in the next coming months, early year, we'll see another opportunity for families to gather. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bailey and Mrs. Johnson, and thank you all. With that said, at this time, council, I would like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is everyone comfortable? Everyone's okay? Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure. Proceeding on, council, on the fire department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to accept a proposal from Jabali Concrete Construction LLC to replace deteriorated concrete aprons and pads and install an oil and grit separator at Fire Station 1 in an amount not to exceed $43,000. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas Phoenix City Fire Rescue has solicited pricing in order to replace the deteriorated concrete aprons and pads and install an oil and grit separator at Fire Station 1. And whereas the apparent price meeting the required specifications for replacing the concrete aprons and pads and for the installation of an oil and grit separator is from Jabali Concrete Construction LLC, an amount not to exceed $43,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to accept a proposal from Jabali Concrete Construction LLC to replace deteriorated concrete aprons and pads and install an oil and grit separator at Fire Station 1 in an amount not to exceed $43,000. Passed, approved, and adopted this 8th day of September 2021.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lee. Council, we've heard the resolution. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bailey. Comments or discussion, council?
Yes, sir. I like to ask this question. This is the first time we're doing this. Do we have one prior to that?
Well, address it,
No, actually, Mr. Day, this is probably the third time that this has been done at Station 1. Over time, the weight of those trucks, over time, the concrete will begin to deteriorate, and it has at Station 1. We've done it at Station 3 and Station 4. But now we'd like to, since we can no longer wash the trucks outside without an oil and grit separator due to the new law, we'd like to get this concrete work done and also install the oil and grit separator so they can wash the trucks outside.
The oil and grit separation, that's what I referred to. This is the first time?
Yes,
using that.
the oil and grit separator, yes, sir. We don't have one, and based on the new laws from ADM, we cannot wash outside. So it makes it pretty tough for them to be able to wash inside the station. They're in such a confined area. They're getting everything wet, so we need another place to wash the trucks.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. And we had $50,000 budgeted, and thank God it came under budget. Yes, sir.
Save money there.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Great job.
Thank you so much, Chief Kennedy. Any other comments or discussion? I do want to just say this, one of the one we just approved, it was over 10,000, and this one came in under 7,000, so we still at a plus of 3,000. So save that money. All right. All right. Any other comments or discussion? Okay. Mrs. Lee, call for the vote.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proceeding on, council, on the Utilities Department. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to sign a contract agreement with Fuller Fire and Safety for the installation of a fire alarm control system to monitor the elevator in an amount not to exceed $7,797. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Whereas resolution number 2021-135 was approved to enter into an agreement with Oracle Elevator Company for the modernization of the Phoenix City Municipal Buildings elevator. And whereas part of said agreement requires the city to install a fire alarm control system to monitor the elevator. And whereas the city received quotes for the system to be installed, and the lowest quote received was from Fuller Fire and Safety in an amount of $7,797. And whereas Fuller Fire and Safety will monitor the fire alarm system at a cost of $35 per month, $420 annually. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Phoenix City, Alabama does hereby authorize the mayor and city manager to sign a proposal from Fuller Fire and Safety for the installation of the said fire alarm control system in amount not to exceed $7,797, and for the monitoring service of the fire alarm system at a cost of $35 per month, $420 annually. Passed, approved, and adopted this 8th day of September 2021.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Lee. Council, we've heard the resolution. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordon. Comments or discussion? Okay, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordon?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, council, proceeding on the ordinance. We have a public hearing and a second reading. It's an ordinance to rezone 9.40 acre tract of land located at 921 28th Avenue from an R2 zone to an R3 zone, SFC Properties, LLC, Scott Chamber owner. The first reading was on the 3rd of August. I will not ask the clerk to reread this. However, at this time, I do want to declare this as a public hearing, and if there's anyone that would love to come and address this council in reference to this rezoning, now is the time to do so. Okay, seeing that we have no one to step forward, I am declaring this public hearing closed, and as I stated earlier, I would not ask the clerk to reread this ordinance. This is the second reading. So with that, council, I'd like to ask for a motion for approval of this ordinance. May I have a second to approve, please? A motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Bailey. May I have a second? Okay. Since there's no second, it failed for the lack of a second. Okay? All right, we have that.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to deny.
Okay. Point of privilege from Councilman Gordon. At this time, Council, we've heard that he would like to make a motion to deny this claim. So with that being said, I'd like to ask for that motion be approved.
Need a second.
Okay, we got the motion. May I have a second?
I do a second.
Okay, we
Second.
have the motion and the second that is denied. Okay, with that, at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
No.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, on the board appointments, council, we have a personnel review board. We have 3 openings. The clerk has contacted all 3 of those persons. Those persons are Dimple Davis, Mattie Arrington, and Dr. William Brooks, and they all have agreed to serve again on this board, personnel review board. So with that, council, I would like to ask for a motion to reappoint all 3 of these persons to remain on this personnel review board. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
All right, we got a motion from Mr. Gordon, and that's the second, Mr. Day.
That's fine, yes.
Okay, we have the motion and the second. You have that, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to call for the vote, Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Proceeding on, council, on the license application. We have an application for an off-premise. I'm sorry.
We got one
We got to
more.
reappoint. Planning Commission.
I got to come see you. Dr. Gordon.
Planning Commission.
I got to come see you. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Next, the board appointment under the Phenix City Planning Commission, and we have 1 opening. Mr. Don Ivy, he has been contacted also by our clerk, and he has agreed to serve again. So with that, council, I would like to ask for a motion to reappoint Don Ivy on this Planning Commission board. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to reappoint.
Okay. We have a motion to reappoint Don Ivy by Councilman Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bailey. All right, we have the motion and the second, and at this time, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Gordon and Councilman Day, for, I got to come see you, Dr. Gordon. Next, now is the license application. This is a first reading. We have an application for an off-premise beer license and off-premise wine license submitted by LaWanda Thompson for a Matter of Taste Incorporation doing business as Neighborhood Food Mart located at 3984 Sanford Road, Phenix City, Alabama. At this time, I'd like to call on Mrs. Lee for the first reading of these reports. Mrs. Lee.
Yes, sir. The first letter's from Raymond Smith, Chief of Police. I have reviewed these applications for off-premise beer as well as off-premise wine, and I have no objection to the issuance of these licenses to the applicant based upon her criminal background investigation. The second memo is from the Fire Chief, Kristen Kennedy. This letter is in reference to the application submitted by LaWanda Thompson of a Matter of Taste Incorporated doing business as Neighborhood Food Mart located at 3984 Sanford Road, Phenix City, Alabama 36869. This applicant has applied for off-premise beer and off-premise wine licenses. This facility is outside Phenix City Fire Rescue's jurisdiction. The last memo is from Ray Rogers, Deputy Building Official. This letter is in reference to the application submitted by LaWanda Thompson of a Matter of Taste Incorporated doing business as Neighborhood Food Mart located at 3984 Sanford Road for an off-premise beer and off-premise wine licenses. An inspection was conducted on August the 30th and meets the minimum building code requirements. This office has no objections to the approval of these licenses.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Lee.
Yes.
Council, we've heard the first reading. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to place on first reading. May I have a motion to approve the place on first reading? Motion, Mr. Day?
Yes.
May I have a second, Council?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gordy. Okay. Mrs. Lee?
Got it. Yes, sir.
You have it? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Call for the vote?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
And now, Council, at this time, would like to, I'm sorry, what's that, Mr. Day?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll ask you, is that way out Sanford Road on the right-hand side of the houses?
It's not in the jurisdiction.
On the right-hand side.
I think it's in the fire.
I was trying to figure where it was located. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mayor, before I get up, did we do the 3 appointments for the personnel bureau?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a hearing doctor in here. We do have our doctor, so I gotta go see him. You need to go. I'm just teasing with you.
I got here today.
I'm just teasing, man.
Apparently, they don't have.
We play hard, but we also work hard. Council?
Mayor and council, we have 4 claims on the agenda today. The first claim is filed by AT&T. We damaged one of their cables as we were doing some excavation work. They did not, they repaired the cable, of course, because it was under an emergency, so where they could reinstate the service to their customers. So they were not required to give us 3 estimates. They submitted a bill for $866.85, and I recommend that we approve this claim in this amount.
Okay.
Oh, and let me...
Let's explain why
Yeah,
it's not.
well, when you have situations like this, you don't require 3, and like AT&T, Alabama Power, Phenix Cable or Beam, just to name a couple, once we damage something and they have to reinstate service as soon as they can, then there's no requirement for 3.
Which is the difference.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yeah, everybody needs to understand that in emergency situations, it's like when we're controlled by the bid law, but if we have an emergency situation where water damages a road or something like that, we're allowed to go ahead and get it under that emergency section. and make the repairs.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, sir. And that's, like I said, I recommend that we approve the claim in the amount of $866.85.
Okay. Council, we've heard the recommendation from our attorney. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve this recommendation. I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
All right, motion by Mr. Gordon. That's the second, Mr. Day?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee, we have the motion to second, Mr. Gordon and Mr. Day. So with that said, I'd like to call for the vote. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second claim is filed by Stephen Phillips. Mr. Phillips alleges that he was driving on 4th Avenue, that one of our work crews was out there working on 4th Avenue, that somebody directed him to drive around something. He claims that he, as a result of that he hit something and his front and back tires were busted. And you got the memo from Mr. Woody. He's also got statements from all the crew that was working out there. And in those statements, just summing up what they say, is there were no traffic incidents that any of them saw. And he stated to the police officer when he filed his police report that the vehicle was inoperable. That's the reason he didn't bring it. He also stated he had pictures but never produced them to the police department or when he filed his claim. Now the problem is if the vehicle was inoperable, then he should have not been able to leave the scene with it. And based on all of this, my recommendation is that we deny the claim.
All right, thank you. Attorney, Grant. Council, we've heard this recommendation. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Gordon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Bailey. Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
The next claim is filed by Ray and Glenda Driscoll. They complained that our grab-all that picks up limbs on the side of the road damaged their mailbox, hit it. They did not actually see our vehicle hit their mailbox. They're just assuming it did. They don't have any witnesses that saw it. The driver was interviewed and he said he did not hit it. And based on that, I'm going to recommend we deny this claim.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Grant. Council, we've heard the recommendation from our attorney. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve that recommendation. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve the recommendation.
All right, motion, Mr. Day. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Bailey? Okay. We have a motion and second. Call for the vote, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Day?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordy?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
The last claim is filed by Ms. Terry Shade. Ms. Shade, house got flooded and what happened is she had purchased the house. The former owner had the water and the sewage disconnected for failure to pay. And when we do that in this particular neighborhood, we plug the sewer line. Well, she bought the house and went down, got an account established and all, and we failed to go out and take the plug out. Therefore, it backed up and she had damage to the inside of her house. Now, the total amount she's requesting is $7,130.59. But in talking with Mr. Spraggins and Mr. Woody and myself, we decided that that's a little high, and we think that she's trying to upgrade things like toilets and, you know, cabinets and all. And she's even asking that we replace a mirror that hangs on the wall, and there's no way there was only what Mr. Woody told me, there's only about an inch of water in the house. So for us to do our due diligence, we're going to ask you if you would table this claim till the next meeting where we can go out and look at the house. And the photographs we've got doesn't tell us what type of toilets they are, what type of vanities they are, and we just want to see the damage for ourselves. So that's my recommendation, is that we table.
Okay, thank you. Council, we've heard the recommendation to table this. So at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the recommendations on my alternative to table. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to table.
All right, we have a motion. Mrs. Johnson, may I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Day. Okay, Mrs. Lee?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Days?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Bailey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gordon?
Yes.
Mayor Lo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor and council, that's all I ask.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Thank you all so much. We just can't thank our employees enough, and we just can't thank this community enough. And we are blessed, and we need to be a blessing. So I do want to say that and encourage that. And with that said, does any of the council member wants to say anything? And before they do, I would like to say thank you to all the department head, and make sure you all let all the employees know we just awarded some with over 90 years of experience in this community. That's a lot, you know, and that's a good thing. And we just want to make sure they understand how much we appreciate them. But it starts with the department heads and the city manager, as he always say. And we got to take care of our people. But with that, we got to make sure we are held accountable, and everyone is held accountable. So department head, thank you all. And so with that, and the council member at this time.
Yeah, I'd like to say, Mayor, we as a city blessed to have such dedicated employee, as you stated a few minutes ago, over 90 years of service. That's a lot of experience. And yet it's still, as I listen to each one of them make statements saying that they would like to continue to work for the city of Phoenix, which is a good thing. So we must be doing something right. With the program that we have in place for all our employees, it will jog that memory. And like Mr. Hunter said, we are hired here in Phoenix City, and we got a good benefit package as well. You know, I say that to a few people that I go out to speak with. I say, go to our website, see what you can come up with. One other thing, May I like to say this. We all know, I believe it's Saturday, we all know what happened about 20, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. You know, that was just something that we will never forget. And I'll never forget where I was when that happened. I'm working out there on my job, and we all shut down, went into the break room, and it touched my heart. And we, yet and still, God allowed us to be able to still be here, regardless of what happened during that day. And it is a blessing. But I'd like to say to the old family that was in the mix of that, I heard on the news, saw on the news this morning, they talked to one lady, and she was elaborating on what she was and what happened to her husband and all that. And it jogged my memory. I said, we as a nation is still blessed. Regardless of what goes on in this nation, we are a blessed nation. And it is a blessing to be a citizen of this nation. We have our pros and cons, like any other nation, and that's going to happen in this life. But we must, one of the most important things, I say this in Sunday school, I'm a Sunday school guy, I go to Sunday school every Sunday, we must treat folks like we wish to be treated, regardless of their race, color, skin, or what have you. If we do that, you know, I think this community will be better. I see the violence and all this stuff going on throughout our community. Hey, as I said so many times, matter of fact, I said this last week at a group over there in Columbia, it takes everybody, the teachers, the coaches, the mayor, the city council, the pastor, everybody come together, try to curtail this violence here, this senseless killing here in the Bi-City area. They're going to take all of us. They're going to take prayer. We must remember this. Prayer can go where no other can go. And if we pray and show love, God will do the rest. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Day. Any other council? Anyone?
I do have just a brief comment, Mayor. I just want to thank Janet for taking the initiative to promote different businesses in the area on beautifying Phenix City as part of Keep Phenix City Beautiful campaign. So thank her for doing what she has done in the 2nd District over the past week. She spotlighted 3 areas. The church, one being Agape Church International. Congratulations to them for beautifying their yards. Residential, the Vickers on Dobbs Drive, we thank them for doing what they do to beautify that area. And the business Vector Fly, company that has been in Phenix City or been around, I think, since the 90s, early 90s. So again, thanks to those areas for keeping Phenix City beautiful. And we want to encourage all of our citizens to keep their area clean. You know, we're getting into the fall seasons. Grass is not growing as much, but we do see a lot of rain, and we understand that there are still some areas that are high in knee deep with grass. But throwing paper out is not an excuse. So again, we want to encourage our citizens to keep Phenix City beautiful as it is. And thanks everyone for that. But we got a fall series that continue through the fall season, September and October. So Parks and Recs has done a great job getting together with the different artists to come to Phenix City for different types of entertainment. Some of them are free, some of them are a small charge of $10 or less. So again, Phenix City is doing something to make sure that our citizen has a place to go and gather positively. So support the events, come out. We had a great time on Saturday. Mr. Isaiah Sharkey and the band, they were awesome. A lot of people enjoyed that, so we want to see more people to come out. I did get a question about where's the art park. It's on Whitewater Avenue, next to the Marriott Hotel, the walking bridge. So if you have not had a chance to come out and visit that area, please do so. A lot of entertainment, a lot is happening in Phenix City, positive things that are happening in Phenix City. So again, support these efforts, sponsored by our Phenix City Parks and Recs. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Mr. David?
Yeah, if I could, just reflecting back on this COVID that's going on, please remember to social distance, wear your mask when it's appropriate, pray for each other, worry about each other, but the biggest thing is care about each other. Absolutely, if you see someone that you can help them, but if you also see someone that is struggling for whatever reason, because of COVID, because of anything that's going on, because of just they don't know what to do, they're lost, help them. Reach out with a helping hand. Also, go back to 9/11. 20 years ago, our world changed, it seemed like, but if you talk to the people that experienced Pearl Harbor, they tell you Pearl Harbor changed their world. Every generation seemed like it has something to happen of that nature. But it makes our nation stronger, it makes us stronger as individuals. It makes us believe in each other more, it makes us believe in our country more. And I know I say this quite often, and I genuinely mean it from my heart. We live in the greatest country in the world. We absolutely do. There's nowhere else that you can gather like this, that you can have conversation, you can disagree. You can disagree with government. And you have the right to do that, but you have to do it organized and legally. You can't just go out unreasonably and try to take charge of things and do things that are wrong, like happened on January the 6th. But you do have the right to be disagreed. And I think that we live in a world that we can do that. But we also need to remember, 20 years ago, changed our country. But we still live in the same country 20 years later. And our firemen, our police officers, our sheriff, our highway patrol, FBI, GBI, ABI, emergency people, personnel, your neighbors. We have to worry about them and watch after them each and every day. Violence is everywhere. It doesn't just come from other countries, it just doesn't come from other organizations. It comes from individuals. And it's hard to protect yourself against meanness and hatred. I don't know that it can be done. But it can be protected by those that protect us. So we need to pray for them each and every day, not just on anniversaries that bring things to mind, not just on days that we see something happen in the newspaper or on TV. We need to remember that every day, those firemen that were here, the police officer that was here, put their lives on the lines doing things that they're trained to do, they're chosen to do, and they're willing to do. And we need to appreciate that, and not just in our own city, but all over this country. The people that have chosen to do that are outstanding people in my book. And our armed forces people are outstanding people. And I have a hard time with what went on in Afghanistan and what's still going on in Afghanistan. We're a country of Americans. We've always supported each other, and I know that we always will. So I know that if there's any of them that's left behind, somebody in our nation is going to step up to the plate, is going to get the people out of there like they're supposed to do. When it'll happen, be in God's time, but it will happen. Because we are a nation that stands together, bonds together, and becomes stronger when someone tries to find one of our weaknesses. We are a stronger country for it and stronger people for it. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Mr. Moore, anything? Mr. Hunter, anything you want to add or take away?
No, just say, listen to Mr. Bailey get you kind of choked up there. You can tell that was heartfelt there. It's coming from the bottom of his heart. I know it got you. It's pretty tough. But looking back 20 years ago and looking at 9/11 coming up, at that particular time on that day, I was fire chief. And going back, that was we had just came out of a month of, that was the last 3-year term for councils during that time. We had just came out of a tough election. My mother had a stroke. It's something to, you look back and it was a real tough time doing that. And then for that to happen and to have to watch it, and we had a relationship. Phenix City has always had a broad relationship with other fire departments, and Chief Brennan was top of the line. He's a legend in the fire department, fire service out of New York. And in taking classes from him through the fire college and a lot of them, the consortiums that we was in, and looking at that. Ms. Norma was our administrative assistant. And when that happened, someone had called and we had to go look at it, knowing with jet fuel and the temperature, what it burns and looking at it continues, we had started to get frightened because we knew it wouldn't be but a certain amount of time that something could change. And a lot of people understand what happens to steel and brick. At the same time, the decomposition of things that go there as it heat up. And to see that, and even to think about now, sitting there, it's a privilege still to be living, like I say, still on this earth, seeing some things, Like I say, it's just all kinds of things you think about that tie your emotions up. You're thinking I was a 41-year-old guy during that time, 5 more days before I turned 52, just like now, getting ready to turn 62, and you look and you think about the people that lost their families. That's always been something that bothers me. See the kids that never got to know their parents. That was in there fighting and giving up their life for it. A lot of people. It's one of the most devastating things still that I've seen since I've been in public safety. It was just something that bring you to your knees, and even thinking about it now, and you wonder and hope those families are doing well. But in the reports over the years, during those 20 years, it's a lot of people that was involved in that has succumbed to what happened during that time, and families that was just torn apart. It didn't stop at the 300 plus people. That number has grown and grown every year from the effect of what happened that particular day. The mental problems that people have had to live with and try to contend with is tough, and that's why I tell you, I take these things serious. We had firefighters that was in here earlier, you know, police officer Mike Harrison. Mike started, and his wife started that year. He started working here during that same time. And like I say, Angie is right. She always encouraging people to come here and work because they know it's a good place to work. And it takes care of people. But it's so much important things to look at when you think things are bad for you. You just, all you have to do is turn on that TV and look at the news or think back how bad it's been for a lot of people that's right around you and for a long time. So it's something I hope and pray that people can do the best they can with it as far as when they're thinking about things like that. But we have to be serious about our job because we never know what's going to happen to those of us who are still serving in that capacity and doing things. That's why I always tell them you have to take things real serious, especially when, and in that type of event, you can have all the training in the world. You know, when you enter that environment, you may not come out. And that is tough on people, and they make that decision to give their life to try to rescue and save other people. You know, so it's pay honor and tribute, you know, to all those people and their families. And like I said, they gave the ultimate. And it'll never be forgotten, but those 20 years have gone fast for some people, and you gotta think about the people that's been in torment for that long as they still succumb to that. And it is tough. So that's all I have to say, and say thank you all. I know hopefully on the next meeting that we have, we'll be able to explain. I think a lot of people have missed it. You all are going to have a 5-year term and what's going on with the government, because I was looking at, like I say, when it makes you reflect. When you think about when the last 3-year term was, going into the beginning of the 4-year terms, you all will have a 5-year term, and I don't think a lot of citizens know about that. So that's something we need to discuss the next council meeting, and hopefully a lot of people will be watching and not be able to be reported, because things have changed. And the reason why you would have that 5-year term is not to stay there, but changing it from the presidential, you know, election time. So we need to kind of make sure we inform them, so people are hearing me now. They'll wonder, and they'll be able to get your message to get to understand it. But that will be going back to a 4-year term after that.
And the council had nothing to do with that. So
no, that's from our government.
The government, yeah, that's from the state.
Well, it's very confusing when you have an election. You have the city election in August.
Yeah, that's correct.
And some people vote here. Then you have the state and the federal election, and the same people that voted here now vote over here.
That's correct.
And they go here and not know that they got to go there, and they get confused, and they get upset, and they get angry, and they get mad, and a lot of them don't vote. And
that's
Lord,
right.
I want everybody to be able to cast a vote.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
And that's part of the reason, I'm sure. I don't know that that's the biggest reason, but I'm sure that that's a large part of it.
It's a big part of the reason, and the confusion that it carries. So putting these in different years, and I feel, you know, everybody have their feelings about things. I feel like it's something that's going to be better, but that's what they made the decision to do, and that's what we'll follow.
We have to follow the state.
That's correct.
Just that simple.
So like I say, I want to thank all of you all, you know, thank all the department heads, like we always do, and show appreciation to what everybody's trying to contribute to make things better for our community and our society. And, you know, like I say, Mr. Day, he gave his sermon, and he talked from the heart, and I mean, it makes sense. You know, it makes a lot of sense about things. So we have to love each other and try to, you know, get along with each other as best we can, you know, make a sort of effort to be successful. And thank you all.
Thanks, Ms. Bond. Thanks, Council. And I just want to say this real quickly. Everyone spoke from the heart, and it was great, but I do want to say this. The common denominator, what I got from what everyone said, and the scripture validates this, it's always good to look back to show you how awesome and good God is and how far He's brought us. It's always good to look back to make us better people, to make us a better person, just to make things better for the whole. So as we look back, we have so much that we can bring forward to really be thankful for the opportunities that we have as a council, opportunities as city employees, that we can really make a difference for the sake of other people. It is so important to look back because it helps create an environment where we can learn how not to be, that would really, really set a precedent for our community. So, you know, what all the council said is so true. We look back 20 years ago, so we have to take that to embody us, to embolden us to be the people or the persons or the community that we need to strive to be. Not saying that we won't fumble sometimes, but it's not done intentionally, because we have to look back to see how far we've come so we can set a precedent for others to follow the same path that we are doing. So with that said, I truly thank this council. I thank the city manager, all the workers, the department here, and as we certainly as a collective body thank this community for believing in us. We're not going to always get it right, but I will tell you this, we're going to always be forthright in letting you know the truth. So with that said, I'd like to thank CTV Bean, and with that said, council, we do adjourn. Thank you so much.